welcome to This might be one of our most controversial videos that we will do. What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna go through all the generations of gaming consoles and we're gonna rank them on our tier list. I didn't want to smack this because it's a little fragile.
I'm so afraid because ranking something as massive as an entire generation of gaming, imagine when we put one of these in F tier. We're gonna put like a decade worth of gaming in F tier.
This is where it gets challenging. There's some goods in a generation. There's some bad. We gotta try and weigh those. We can't say something's so great because of one thing. Yeah. We gotta talk about the bad for it too.
I hate the fact that I have to go first. All right,
so bad.
I've got this is the 6th generation. The Sega Dreamcast, the PS2, the GameCube, the original Xbox, the Game Boy Advance, the Wonder Swan. Clearly an S tier console if I've ever seen one.
I gotta be honest with you. I don't want, I know we said we were gonna do this random. I think that might be my S tier. For me, what makes it an S is Game Boy Advance and the OG Xbox.
Really?
I loved the OG Xbox.
Okay.
I loved watching Bill Gates come out there and just like, oh, gaming. And then The Rock is there sitting like, gaming.
Every generation is gonna have its hits and its misses. I will say there's some real arguments to be said that this is one of the best generations of gaming of all time. The PS2, GameCube, I will say, had some terrific titles. The GameCube was, out of all of these consoles, or at least out of all the home consoles, that was the one that I played the most.
I don't think the original Xbox was better than the PS2, but
there were some amazing times on that.
Yeah,
like
that's
Halo and Xbox
for me, it was the most like it was a new console. That was so crazy to me at the time. And I was like younger. I have bigger memories attached to the original Xbox than I do the PS2.
And obviously we had the Dreamcast, which clearly did not succeed. I don't think this is S tier though. I'm gonna say that.
What?
Purely because it was a little bit of a middle ground of a generation. How about this, Matt?
Are you vetoing my veto?
How about this? I won't veto anything, but there can only be one of these that land in S tier. If you are gonna make the argument that 6th gen PS2, Dreamcast, Xbox is the greatest generation of gaming of all time, you can make that argument, but you have to put that in S tier, and that means that nothing else in this video can be S tier, and we're gonna be arguing like crazy for the rest of it. Do you feel that strongly about the 6th gen that it is S tier? Because I will say I feel this is a strong A tier. I could easily accept this being A tier.
I'll give you A tier, but you're not gonna like my next answer.
Almost.
I'm putting it A tier, but I want it on record that I don't love this. This video is sponsored by Setapp.
Look, we're all drowning in an ocean of apps and services that are on the market. And the thing is, it can be really hard to find the right app that's a good fit for you and your workflow.
To make it even more complicated, a lot of apps just don't have a free trial, so you have to pay before you ever try it out. And then what happens if you don't like that app? You just paid for it. Setapp is a platform that combines over 230 powerful macOS and iOS apps, all under a single $9.99 subscription. Their selection of apps is curated for people who use their Macs for productivity, but it's not just time management and to-do lists either. There's also tools for coding, designing, and even music creation, which I thought was really cool. I didn't know they did that one, and I was really excited for that.
You'll also make sure that you're never missing out on any cool apps or features, because all of these things are actually included to help you do your work more efficiently for just a fraction of the price if you are buying and subscribing left, right, and center. Who would want to do that?
Not me. To learn more, check out the link in the description and get 7 days of Setapp for free. And of course, Setapp
powers you up. Now that we've started out with a disastrously difficult pick that no one is going to be happy with.
I feel good. Like I can feel you guys yelling at us in the comments already. All right, we're gonna go. Woohoo! The 3rd gen, which starts in 1983, and that is the NES, the Sega Master System, and the Atari 7800.
Nostalgia-wise, I will be honest, this was not a generation that I really partook in. I was not alive in 1983.
I wasn't alive in 1983 either, but I did partake in this generation.
I never played NES until later on, so I'm going to purely look at this from the historical sort of context. And keep in mind that this was when gaming had this huge peak, an absolute implosion. And there's a real argument to be had that if Nintendo had not stepped up with the NES and really sort of revitalized the home console business and gaming as a whole, that gaming may not have picked up for years and years and years after the fact. This set the groundwork for what home consoles could and should be. It had absolutely unbelievable titles such as Zelda, such as Mario. I'm not gonna say that this is S tier, because I personally can't put this in S tier, but I will be completely honest with you. If you made a sincere argument that this should be S tier purely based on the historical context, I could actually say that is pretty damn important.
But the cultural relevancy to me matters very little compared to my nostalgia glasses. While I did partake heavily into this generation, I am going to choose violence. I don't give a shit about Mario. I'm not going to say F, but I am going to say a solid C.
I'm not going to argue with you because I was pretty firm on the A tier for this one. So, like, I'll give you C, but on this, but like, holy... Wow. Okay, I'm going to pick this next one.
I told you it's going to be controversial.
All right. The 8th generation of gaming, featuring such amazing consoles such as the Wii U, PS4, Xbox One, 3DS, Vita, and the good old Nintendo Switcheroo. A generation which I think, because it is so new, has a lot of recency bias, either pro or against it. Because on one side, you can say that an enormous amount of people who are watching this video spent a huge amount of time in the last 10 years playing consoles from this generation and probably have either rose-tinted glasses about those early, PS4 days, Xbox One days, or it's so new that it hasn't really settled in. I'm much more in that second camp. This could honestly go, in my opinion, up here or way down here based on
I think charitable... the Wii U brings that entire list down like a 9th grade pothead.
But hey, how does the fact that we put the Switch and the Wii U in the same generation? If this was a tier of just the Switch, I say Switch is A tier. The main thing for me is that this is the first generation of gaming that I covered professionally from start to finish. I was there at E3 when they announced the PS4 and the Xbox One. I got my hands on the 3DS when it first came out and the Vita. Like every single one of these consoles I covered on the channel. But I can put that to the side for a second and say that like for this generation, we should almost argue it from the perspective of this is F tier, and how do we elevate it above F tier? Xbox are still paying off the reputational debt that the Xbox One flushed down the toilet
how much does PS4 and Switch negate that for us?
It brings it above F, but I mean, there's an argument that this is D tier, which I'm shocked to say out loud. I almost think I'm leaning toward D tier on this.
I'll tell you what I want to do.
What do you want to do? No, do not rip it. Do not rip that beautiful graphic. Okay, we're just gonna put it.
Wii U was just so bad, and everyone's like, I loved my Wii U. Or did you just like playing Mario Party with your friends?
How do you feel about our decision so far?
I feel like I regret doing this video at all.
Now, we have to be brave, we have to push through, we have to give the people what they want, which is our L takes on their childhood memories.
I'm gonna add a new rule to this game.
Okay.
There can only be one S, but we have to fill up the entire...
100% with you.
So
with you. We have to put a B.
We have to find a B
and an F.
and we have to find an F.
I already know which console generation I think I want to set as an F. And I think there's two in my head that could be S. So I think we'll have to argue with that a little bit. Let's commit to the time-honored tradition of tier lists.
First and second gen of consoles,
which we are going to wrap up together.
So this is the Atari 2600, the Mattel Intellivision, the ColecoVision, the Fairchild, the original Atari Pong. Boop, 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 boop. This is obviously the S tier. So
what?
How do you not put this in S?
What are you talking about?
Name one thing that's better than the ColecoTels.
The 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th generation of gaming are better than this.
Look, this was mind-blowing when it came out.
This is prehistoric tech, though, by today's day.
Right. Pong booped so we can bop later on. But, like, I also was able to play a lot of those games at the arcade. I have more fun, nostalgic memories of playing some of these games at an arcade than I do sitting at home with
so you're actually saying that the fact that arcades existed is a downside here.
Yeah.
But this is a pale imitation of arcade gaming, and therefore console gaming didn't really hit its stride until later. All right. We're going to say first and second generation combined are F tier on our list, which means that we have 4 more generations to go. And I've got 2 generations here that are very much a debate in my mind.
Go ahead and pick one. Not a good one to pick. No, you shouldn't have picked that one.
This is the 9th generation, aka the current generation of gaming. So we're talking PS5, Xbox Series X, as well as the Steam Deck. I will say up front, this is the most difficult generation to judge. Just because we're, I would say, what, a quarter, maybe a third of the way through the generation. Like, we're going to be living with the Series X, the Series S, the PS5, and partially the Steam Deck for many years to come.
This is where I would cancel myself.
You can try.
I give this a C tier.
I completely, absolutely agree.
Oh! No!
Like,
we're 2 years into the console generation, and people are just now starting to get PlayStations. There's been a severe lack of any type of exclusive.
And it doesn't really enable anything new.
Right. It's slightly better than what we had before. But like you said, like nothing is like groundbreaking. It took so long to catch up to get into this place.
Yeah.
And we're a large chunk of the generation already
if we
over.
make this video again in like 3 years.
Oh, we will, by the way. We're going to make this about
subscribe
once a year.
in 3 years from now, you'll be reminded with a ring-a-ling of the ding-a-ling that we made another one of these tier lists. I think that this could either go one of two ways. I think it could go significantly higher based on like what the next Switch does, if there is like Slim and Pro consoles and some of that stuff. By the same token, if we don't see anything that's all that revolutionary, if we basically just see like more mobile stuff and nonsense, this one could slide precipitously.
Go ahead, pick one. I don't want to pick another one. Don't do that one.
Boom! The 4th generation of gaming devices. We're talking Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Neo Geo, TurboGrafx, and importantly, the handhelds, which really kicked off this generation, including both the Game Gear and importantly, the good old Game Boy. In my opinion, this is when gaming got much more serious. The idea of a console war really was sort of invented in this generation.
Like the Game Boy versus Game Gear. That battle was intense. Mortal Kombat alone of just like, come buy a Sega because we could do blood. I'll be clear, this is my S tier. So the Game Boy was my whole goddamn life. I got my Game Boy in 1992.
Yeah.
I still have that Game Boy sitting like in my living room right now. There's no other generation for me that I had more of these consoles. I had a Genesis, I had an SNES.
Just the generation that you happen to grow up with the
Yes,
most, and
yes.
maybe not the most influential. I'm
Yes.
not saying it's not a good generation.
No,
I think it's a very good generation.
I already said I don't give a shit about the historical value of it.
I hear you. I
You
really
don't
do
hear me.
you.
You don't hear me.
This is not an S tier generation.
It's the essence of S.
We have to agree on this, Matt. I can't give you S on this. I can give you A.
All the Spider-Man games for SNES, okay? Those were S tier on their own. Road Rash on the Sega Genesis. Awesome. Mortal Kombat. Echo the Dolphin game. All right?
This is a good generation. I'm not going to give it our only S of the video. How about this? I'll give it a upper A. We put the 3rd generation with the NES at C tier. This was a slightly better generation. It was not that much of a better generation. Like, you just cannot tell me that
I can. Look at my straight face.
Okay, Matt, you can pick the next one then.
Doesn't matter, it's both F.
Well, actually, technically, one has to be S and one has to be B because I played the game correctly. Checkmate. It is the S tier.
No,
S tier of S tier.
You know, no, it's not. It's not. This is where, like I said, we're going to break up. We're going to break up here. It's so forgettable to me that I skipped this generation.
This generation had some of the most important consoles of all time. The
Who cares?
Xbox 360.
Who cares?
The PlayStation 3. The Wii. We've got ourselves the DS in this generation. We've got ourselves the PSP in this generation. I would say that this is the generation out of every single generation we talked about. There are no goddamn misses in this generation. We've got the DS, which absolutely crushed the Game Boy in popularity. Sold 100 gajillion units. It's still one of the most best-selling consoles of all time. We've got ourselves the PSP, which was so powerful, so badass. You had a PS2 in your damn pocket. You had yourself the Xbox 360, the PS3, the ultimate console generation. This was the peak of gaming. It will never be touched again. And I will stand on the damn table if you don't give me this as an S.
I'm not giving you it as an S.
This is S tier. You know it's S tier. It's so S tier. Incredibly S tier. There's literally zero misses on this list. Every other one of these console generations has something that drags them
The
a bit.
PSP, people love it because they were able to hack it and homebrew it because Sony doesn't know how to fucking
No, because it was a PS2 that fit in your damn pocket, Matt.
They just want to play their JRPGs.
Everything about this generation was golden, amazing, perfect. The controllers got good. Wireless controllers.
I'll give you an
became
A.
standard.
I won't give you an S.
So let's put this down for 1 second. Let's talk about 5th gen. Because clearly, one of these has to be B tier, one of these has to be S tier. 5th generation, starting in 1993, includes such classics like the Sega Saturn, PlayStation, N64, Game Boy Color, and Atari Jaguar. The best two were saved for last, in my opinion. These are the best two generations of gaming. The PlayStation 1 and the Game Boy Color, the two of those combined, that was like the mid-late 90s, like Austin Happy Zone. I just absolutely played so much Pokemon on the Game Boy Color. Crisis!
I didn't like Crisis that much. I did have those.
Half-Life!
So you're really making the point then that the 7th gen has to go in B.
How about S tier?
No!
Yeah,
no!
I like that.
You can't have your cake and eat it too. Otherwise, you end up looking like me. All right?
I'm not gonna sleep tonight. I'm not gonna sleep tonight knowing that this is what we come down to, and this is the bullshit answer we have to come. Oh, he's.
I was gonna take it home.
You can take it home. What do you mean you can take it home?
I like the kid who's mad that
just like
he
knock
can take my
the whole
ball
thing
home. I'll be the bigger man. All right?
I don't believe you.
There you go. I'll be the bigger man. Which means we have to put the fifth gen here. Oh my God! Look at that bear over there.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, where's the bear?
Thank you so much for watching this episode of This Is. Let us know what your tier ranking is. Definitely, this was the definitive, absolute, no arguments here from anyone. Like, follow, subscribe. We'll catch you out in the next one.
If this video isn't worth subscribing for, I'm sorry. I'm not sure what kind of content to make on YouTube anymore. I'm glad that I won in spirit, even though number 1 is sometimes number 2.